Hi everyone, welcome to this video. And in this video, I want to talk about DPDR and work, why you potentially get worse DPDR at work and what you can do about it, why that's sort of happening, and maybe even you feel a little bit better at work and your DPDR goes. So I'm going to talk about everything DPDR and work. And for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Dan, and I help people overcome their anxious thinking so they can live a life DPDR free. And if you are somebody that is suffering from DPDR, then please reach out to me and let's have a chat about how we can start to get you better and get you living your life without any of the symptoms or without DPDR. A lot of people wonder what they can do about DPDR when they're at work, and work can be a particular sort of tricky situation because unlike when you're at home and you can just like walk out of the room, or you can sit and ground yourself, or you can do sort of whatever it is you need to do to help you feel better, sometimes at work you're not actually in that situation and you can't actually do that. Let's have a look at why your DPDR could be coming on a little bit stronger at work, or even it could have the reverse effect of you even feel better at work. DPDR and work. Having DPDR at work is no different to having it anywhere else. You probably experience the same symptoms and will have the same coping mechanisms to get you through. However, work can pose a particular issue because it might make you feel more exposed and worried because you can't just get up and leave, and you might not want your colleagues to know what you're going through. This experience of feeling a little bit trapped at work or a bit trapped in your situation can make DPDR a little bit worse. But a little bit later, I'm going to go into what you can do about that and perhaps how you can change your thinking so you don't feel so trapped at work. Let's do a little experiment right now to see how your DPDR symptoms are at work and how you can use that information to either make you better at work or to make you better outside of work. Is your DPDR the same, worse, or better at work? I'd like you to consider what your DPDR is like at work. Do you feel it gets worse? Is it the same, or does it improve? This can be very useful in determining what might be causing your DPDR in the first place. If it gets worse, then it might mean there is a trigger at work, or there is something that you're telling yourself about work that is making you anxious. If it stays the same, then it might mean there is nothing at work which is specific to your DPDR. And if it improves, it might mean you feel more safe at work, and so your anxious thoughts might be related to things outside of work. So do this now, pause the video, take a moment, write down, do you feel better at work? Do you feel the same at work? Or do you feel worse at work? Great, excellent for doing that little exercise. So now you've figured out how you feel at work. So what do we do with this information? Well, this is how to use this information. Once you've figured out how you feel at work, you can use this information to help you cope with DPDR and eventually overcome it. Some things you can consider are: what is different between work and home? What is the same between work and home? If I feel more anxious at work, can I pinpoint exactly what those anxious thoughts are? If I feel more safe at work, what is it that I feel more safe about? How is my inner monologue different between work and home? Can I adapt my thinking to when I'm feeling a bit better to situations that make it worse? These are really good questions to ask yourself, because the chances are that you've never sort of analyzed it this way, or you've never looked at it this way, or you've never asked yourself these type of questions before. If you can answer a few of these questions, it'll give you a much greater understanding of how you feel and why. This is very powerful when it comes to overcoming DPDR and coping with symptoms as they arise. Basically, what you're doing here is you're looking for evidence and you're looking for ways to back yourself to help yourself out of this. So, for example, if you ask the question of, well, what's different between work and home, and you feel a bit better at work than you do at home. So what's the real difference there? Is it that you're in a more familiar environment? Is it that the people who are around you are making you feel better? Is it the pressure is not so much on at work? Or is it that you're so good at your job that you don't feel anxious about it and you feel really in control, but some of the things outside of work you feel less control over? So those type of things are giving you anxious thoughts. Or you can do the same with what you tell yourself as well. So how is your inner monologue different between work and home? Are you finding that you're having a lot more thoughts that are sort of uncontrollable at home, but you're not having them at work? And if that is the case, can you pinpoint exactly what it is? And once you figure out what that is, let's say, for example, you're more busy at work, so you're a lot more distracted, so you sort of don't have time to think about all that other stuff. Then if that is the case, you can say to yourself, well, what's something I can do at home that can keep me equally as busy so these thoughts aren't as intrusive and distracting as they usually are? One of the big ones is that people feel that their DPDR is often worse at work. And the reason that could be is because you don't want to come across as different to anybody else, or you don't want to be seen as being weak or not capable of doing your job. You could also feel that you're trapped at work. For example, if you're sort of, stuck in a meeting during a presentation or whatever it is, you feel that you can't leave, that can really get your DPDR going, because that sort of thought of, oh my goodness, I can't leave, is going to make you more anxious. And of course, that's going to have you sort of having more DPDR symptoms, and it's going to be quite a lot stronger. If that is the case, that you do feel trapped at work, there's something really cool that you can do. And it's this, right? You can say to yourself, I'm not trapped at work. I can leave anytime I want. I can go and take a break. I can go take 5 minutes for myself. What this is going to do, it's going to instantly make you feel a lot calmer and a lot better. And probably your anxiety is going to go right down, because essentially you're giving yourself permission to do what it is you need to do to be able to cope with the situation. That's the thing with DPDR and the symptoms and the anxious thinking, is that a lot of the time we're not actually giving ourselves permission to do the things we need to do, or we're being too mean on ourselves, or we're being too hard on ourselves. For example, you might say things like, I should be able to do this. I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should be feeling another way. I have no options and I have no choices. I'm stuck here. I do have choices and I'm not stuck here. I can choose to do whatever it is I need to do to be able to calm myself down. And you'll be really surprised that even if you just tell yourself that, even if you just give yourself permission to do that, that's probably going to be enough for the DPDR and the anxious thoughts to really drastically drop without you even having to get up and leave, because you're giving yourself the option to leave, or you're giving yourself the option to do whatever it is you need to do. And that sort of has a calming effect on the brain, because it's like, oh, okay, well, if anything bad does happen, then I have the option to do this and I have the option to do that. So the brain is kind of like, whew, okay, well, let's just sort of stick around and see what's going on. And, if I do need to leave, I can, but at the moment I'm okay. I've given myself permission to leave. I know that it's okay. And the chances is that your anxiety is really going to drop here, because that's just the power of the mind. And it's almost like you're playing a bit of a trick on yourself. But whether it's a trick or not doesn't really make any difference, because the impact is still the same. It's still going to lessen the anxious thinking, and it's still going to make you feel a lot better. And you remember those questions I sort of wanted you to ponder a little bit ago? It's all about finding the evidence and finding what works and what doesn't work, and what you're saying and what you're not saying, and all the patterns and the behaviors. And once you can figure out the patterns and figure out the behaviors, then you can either change them, or the ones that work for you, you can sort of copy and paste them into other parts of your life. So they're going to work for you in other areas of your life as well. My friends, I really hope you have learned a little bit from this video and you have enjoyed it. And if you have learned something, or if you did like it, then consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. That would be really awesome. And until next time, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.